Third year of Chiro school, we're in clinic. At this point, we're getting adjusted every single day because that's just what you do in Chiro school. And all of a sudden, I got an adjustment and I was in a neurological flare. I was unable to swallow, basically could not really feel anything besides tingles from my chest up. It was really scary, never felt anything like that before, and that's when I heard of upper cervical instability for the first time. Hello, I am Taylor. I'm a chiropractor by trade, but I call myself now a virtual hypermobility coach, and I want to answer some very common questions I get about chiropractic in itself, and then chiropractic when it comes to the hypermobile population, or if you are living with a connective tissue disorder like hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And so first, I want to share a little bit of my story. I actually knew that I had this condition from a very young age. My mom, she's an amazing mom, and she started noticing I wasn't able to hold a pencil correctly. I couldn't really write very well. I was having some other developmental issues starting around second grade. And so she put me in occupational therapy. I didn't know it was occupational therapy at the time. It was actually called handwriting tutoring. And I get asked a lot by parents, what is the number one thing that you would want to do if I had a kid? I don't have any kids, but if I had a kid, the best thing that I think we can do for them is support them without creating narratives, especially nocibic narratives. And I am so grateful that my mom did not pathologize or make me seem like I was less than because I was having these issues, but instead just brought in support and treated it as a game, treated it as a win. Oh, you get to go to this thing. This is a fun thing that you get to do. I wish that I saw more parents going that direction instead of the direction of, oh my God, there's something wrong with you? We need to be more fragile. That is not going to create resilience, especially at a young age. It's so, so important that we create strong narratives for our kids and make them feel capable. Now, fast forward into college, I went to FSU, go Knowles. I was pre-med, and then I studied abroad in Spain, and I took an alternative medicine class, and I was 21 years old, really didn't know what I was talking about, but I came home from that experience, and I called my mom hysterically crying, saying, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I have no idea what I want to do with my life. 21-year-old me thought that being a doctor meant you're stuck in a system. I didn't realize that everything's stuck in a system, but that's a conversation for a different day. And so I was sitting with my friends, and one of them was like, why don't you be a chiropractor? I think you'd be really good at that. I actually had a chiropractor growing up, but it was not what a traditional chiropractor is. It was more of a sports chiropractor. I was a competitive cheerleader, and he was really a great chiropractor. Now, knowing what I know now, he was a really great chiropractor. And so I was like, oh, sure, I've had good experiences. I'll look into it. Applied, got in a couple days later, and I was like, I've always wanted to live in Oregon. I'll go to chiropractic school. That's kind of how it happened. So I went to chiropractic school, did not really know what I was getting myself into. And when I got there, I was a very science-driven person. I was an undergraduate research opportunity program in undergrad. I was a biochem major, so I was very science research minded. And I got to Chiro school, and I realized really quickly that they were not very evidence-based or research-minded. And I went to one of the most evidence-based chiropractic schools. And then, so in Chiro school, I started realizing quickly, all right, I need to find other people who think like me. And that's when I started going on the internet and finding other chiropractors who were talking like me, using science, and being more like the chiropractor I had growing up. And so I got to find different networks within Chiro school, which was really helpful and got me through it. But as in all school, you have to follow the system. You have to do the things to pass boards. And so my third year of Chiro school, we're in clinic. At this point, we're getting adjusted every single day because that's just what you do in Chiro school. And all of a sudden, I got an adjustment and I was in a neurological flare. I was unable to swallow. Basically could not really feel anything besides tingles from my chest up. It was really scary, never felt anything like that before, and that's when I heard of upper cervical instability for the first time. Now, granted, I was the girl in Chiro school who didn't want to be that girl, didn't want to be a burden, didn't want to tell anybody I had this condition, and so part of this is on me because I should have known better. But at the time, I didn't really know better because we weren't really taught. We weren't taught that you are not supposed to adjust people with connective tissue disorders. It was said maybe once or twice very casually, but it was not as important as they should have made it. And so ever since that moment, this was during COVID time, so social media was booming. I started posting about this on social media, and that was the first time that I realized, oh wow, there are other people who have this condition and are really feeling hopeless and feeling like they cannot get better. They're never gonna feel better. And I had no idea there were so many people experiencing that. And so that's kind of how my career got to where it is now. And now I've seen, unfortunately, hundreds and hundreds of people negatively affected by cervical, so your neck adjusted. Now, when I'm saying adjustments, I'm talking about the big cracky ones. The HVLA adjustments is what they call them in the chiropractic world. Now, I'm very aware that not just chiropractors do these. PTs can do these, DOs can do these, but I am a chiropractor, so I'm gonna speak from that lens. As I always say, judge the professional, not the profession. But when it comes to neck adjustments, there is some really important things that I would like everybody to know. Number one, this is for everybody. There is a non-zero risk of big, bad, and scary things happening. There's a non-zero risk you can get a stroke from a neck adjustment. And then for the hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome population, there is a much bigger risk of you getting CSF leaks, upper cervical instability, and some big, bad, and scary symptoms from these neck adjustments. We like to, for any treatment, take a risk versus reward ratio. The reward of a neck adjustment is temporary relief and a temporary increase in range of motion for some people sometimes. That can be really valuable, but the risk is you could potentially, very small chance, but you could potentially get a stroke. To me, that reward to risk ratio, the risk is just way too high. Now, you can also get that same benefit from so many other passive modalities like acupuncture and soft tissue work and dry needling, and there's so many other passive modalities that don't share the same risk as a neck adjustment. This is not me talking about activators. This is me not talking about any of the machines that chiropractors are using. That is safe. This includes upper cervical, chiropractic, NUCA, any Atlas orthogonal, any of those machines. That is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about when somebody holds onto your neck and is rotating it and you hear a lot of cracks. That is just not worth it, and especially if you have a connective tissue disorder. I have seen the amount of CSF leaks I was told I was seeing Chiro school. They said you will see in this entire room of students, there's 100 of us, you'll maybe see 1 to 3 out of everybody. I have seen over 100 CSF leaks in this population directly after a neck adjustment. That's a problem. It's a big problem, and we're not taught about it enough. And then patients, they go to the chiropractor, they're told that this is gonna help them, they leave with more symptoms, then they go to their chiropractor and they try to explain what happened, and the chiropractor will either deny it or they'll tell them that this is normal, because they've never really seen it before either, because they don't work with this population day in and day out. And then you patient feel like you did something wrong and that you can't be helped. And that's a huge problem. So I would like everybody to know that you never need a neck adjustment, and that there is so many other things that we can do besides a neck adjustment to help you with your symptoms and to help you feeling better. The other thing I want you to know is that all adjustments, no matter where they are in your body, they're not moving bones. I and all of my classmates, we dissected cadavers, and it was an amazing experience. And I can tell you, it takes a lot of force to move a bone, a lot. We had to literally use a chainsaw to move bones. So the fact that we then think we can move bones with our hands doesn't really make logical sense. And there is a lot of studies done showing that we are not moving bones. We're not capable of it. That doesn't mean that we're not doing anything as chiropractors. It does have a huge nervous system effect, and there is a lot of what we call contextual factors that can play a role into when you're going to the chiropractor that help you feel better. These contextual factors can be you're paying money, you think you're getting better, you trust the person who is treating you, they're telling you that you're going to improve, and of course you do. You're hearing sounds that make you feel like things are moving around, paired with maybe even some imaging showing you a visual of things. These are all factors that can play a role into you feeling better. And that's not a bad thing. We can use that to our advantage. But when it becomes a bad thing is when you think you need it, especially if you're being told you need it to be healthy. That creates dependence and in this economy, we don't have money to be throwing around like that. You do not need adjustments to be healthy. They can help you, but they are not needed. It can also become a problem if you are starting to realize, oh, I'm not getting the benefit I thought I was, and now I'm scared to tell my practitioner because I don't want to disappoint them. We're all people pleasers, especially in a medical realm, which is a conversation for a different day, but you're going to then start feeling like you're doing something wrong, and that might not be the case. And so be careful when you are being told this is going to cure something, this is going to move your bones, this is the one thing that you need. Those are all big red flags. And if you are feeling like you are more fragile after going to any medical doctor or anybody in the allied health professionals, find a different doctor. You're supposed to feel more confident after leaving, not the opposite.